Hello, my name is Obi. So I'll be showing you some few steps in this video on how you can set up the services that you might be able to need when you are doing enumeration operation in your ethical hacking phases, the enumeration stage. So here is my Windows server environment, which I have already logged into. This is my server manager's dashboard. And before we go through that, I will quickly show you some few steps here. First, I will need to get the IP address of my server. Secondly, I will equally try to access one of the services like the web server, the IIS web services for the Microsoft. And after that, I'll equally use my Nmap, the GUI interface, to check for one of the ports to see if actually it is accessible or not. Now, you have seen the IP address has been displayed. Next, I will use the Internet Explorer to check for if I can actually access the web server. And by doing so, you can see that it is not what reachable. Reason because it has not been installed. So after this, the next step I will show you now is to use the Nmap to search or to enumerate the DNS word service, which is port 53. So I will do that, and when that is being done, you will equally see that it has not been installed from the result that will be shown. So when all this are being done, then I can start to what? Install those services that are needed to start performing the next step in our ethical hacking what? Practicals. So the IP address is what I will enter here, and when that is done, as you can see, uh, the scanning is done, and this is the output here, which does not show that the port is open. So from this interface here, I can do or I can install those services either from add roles and features here. I'll go under manage and still add roles and feature. Whichever one is used, it is perfect. So I'll click roles and features, and when I click on that, I will click on next, and then role base is what I'm going to use. There is also remote desktop, so we are not dealing with remote desktop for now. We are going with the role base, and when you click on that, the next stage shows you that your system IP address, which you are going to select, and if you have other multiple servers, you can equally select that. Then from here now, I can begin to add the services that are needed, which are the DHCP service. Some are already pre-installed, pre-selected. So it is default by selection. You don't need to do anything on that. You just leave it as it is and select the major ones. So the DHCP server is needed, the DNS, the file and storage services, the print and document services, which are within the file and storage services. We have the remote access, the web server as well. So all this will be installed. And when you click on them, you add the features. And when the feature is added, we go to the next one. So this is how it is going to be done until all of them have been fully what? Selected. So when that is done, the next thing is to what? To click on next. So just to make sure that all the host services are properly selected, that's what I'm doing here. Some are already pre-installed, pre-selected already, as I said. You don't need to do anything, just leave it as it is. So after making sure that all the services that you need has been selected, based on your need though, for the purpose of this tutorial, the ones selected here is the one I'm going to be making use of, just to show you how that is being done. Then we can click on next, and then we hit on install so that the services can get what started. Now we're trying to preview all what we have selected, and once we do that with the next options, then we can click on install at last, when we must have fully seen all this. Here we select this rat service, and then we'll add a feature. We'll click on next, click on next, and then we install. We'll wait for the installation service. It should little take a bit of time, but I'm going to skip some of those long process for the installation. So when that is done, the system must be rebooted, or we restart the system in order for the services installed to take effect. So it has been installed, but to restart is pending. So the system must be restarted before these services can take effect. So for you to restart, it's either you do that from the onset where an option for restart comes up, so you tick that so automatically restart, or you finish installing and then come to your startup button, locate your restart, and then use that option. Although Windows will ask you to give a reason why you want to restart. So here you can pick any reason based on what you did. Here I selected application was installed. It's a planned event, it's not an unplanned event. So we allow for the restarting to take effect. And when that is done, our Windows server is ready and those services are ready. And I can now test back those services I tested from the beginning so that you can see how all of them has now taken shape. So now we go to to the browser and now enter the IP address of my Windows server as I entered before. And when that is done, you can see that the server is now accessible, as you can see. So that is done. Then the next thing also, we'll try to enumerate the DNS port that we tried so that we'll know if actually the DNS port is open for enumeration. And we can do that using the Nmap GUI interface. We will still enter the same command we used before, which is nmap-u-p, signifying you to enter the port number, which is 53, and then the destination IP address. So from the result here, you can see that uh, the ports for the DNS service is open, as you can see here.